You expect me to talk?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
It's a new world with new enemies, but you can still depend on one man. GoldenEye. This was an important film for the series. It was a reinvention, it was a resurrection, it was the resurrection of the character James Bond. And that's one of the most interesting aspects about the series. It's constantly reinventing itself, keeping it fresh, keeping it interesting, keeping it excited. Fascinates me. And reinventing the character for the 90s wasn't easy, I'm sure. A lot had changed from the 80s to the 90s. I mean, compare 1985 to 1995. It was a completely different world indeed, pop culture-wise. But the music had completely changed. Movies, clothing. Pop culture-wise, it was a completely different place. And, by the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, the character of James Bond pretty much was yesterday's news, It was something from a bygone era almost. Movies weren't that successful. And I remember I was already a Bond fan by that time. I started very early, started when I was about 3 years old, constantly watched those films. And I remember waiting for a new Bond. And when it finally came to the big screen, when it finally happened, I remember the excitement and being excited about the promotion, Bond being in pop culture again, being a thing again. Because I wasn't used to that, By the time I started watching those films in the 80s, it wasn't a big pop culture phenomenon, not as big as it was back in the 60s. And seeing all those posters from GoldenEye and the video game and the trailers on TV, and it was an exciting time. Pierce Brosnan was the new Bond. I love him. I love all of the Bonds. He's not my favorite, I have to say. I think he was, for my taste, he was always a little too polished, too clean. Don't know how to explain it to you. Like a male model. He looks like coming from a yard or going to a yard, or and almost a little too polished, I think. I prefer the Daniel Craig's and Connery's because of the rough face, And Brosnan wasn't that, but he was very likable, very charming, very funny. More in the Roger Moore, more like a Roger Moore type Bond, and that's okay. And you can tell that Pierce Brosnan loved to play James Bond. As most of you know, he almost got the role back in the 80s and lost it because of a contract. And he was in this show Remington Steele, so he couldn't make it. He was tied to the show. Almost was James Bond, but missed it and was, of course, very disappointed. And so when he finally got the role in the 90s, you could tell Brosnan loves to be in these films. He loves to be Bond, and he plays the character with a passion. And I always loved this about GoldenEye. This film feels like 50 years had passed since the last Timothy Dalton Bond movie. It was a 6-year break because, reinvention takes time, and there was also legal problems going on. But when it happened 6 years later, it feels like the future. It feels like another time. The look of the film, how it feels, the music, everything was completely new. To me, it feels like at least 20 years had passed between those films, because the last Dalton film was such an 80s, such a child of its time, and GoldenEye was, I think, ahead of its time. It was a little bit into the future. And even today, watching it, it feels like a film from the 2000s. It feels like could also be 2003, I think. It's a great looking film. And it keeps all the elements, the classic Bond elements. You know, you got an Aston Martin, Bond wearing his tuxedo, drinking his martini, the stylish locations, Bond girls, great villains. You know, the music. Tina Turner sang the song "GoldenEye," which is very much Goldfinger for the '90s. Like a '90s version of Shirley Bassey's Goldfinger. I think it was brilliant. You know, the title sequence with the song, you know, with updated effects. It looks so beautiful. The golden light and it looks stunning. Breath takes my breath away. It looks amazing. It's a beautiful looking film. Brosnan is great. Sean Bean as Alec Trevelyan. The villain was an interesting choice. As always, my favorite words. Highly charismatic person. And Famke Janssen as Xenia on top. Also one of my favorite henchmen, women in the whole series. Another unforgettable villain, you know, crushing the guys while having sex with them. That's a pretty insane idea. And you only see stuff like that in James Bond films. It's so exciting and interesting and weird and insane to have a villain do such things. And when she finally got Bond between her legs at the sauna, that's very exciting. Very exciting. She's a great villain. She's insane how Famke Janssen plays this character. You can tell she had a lot of fun doing this. She looks amazing. I love her style, her clothing. I think she's an amazing Bond villain. Sean Bean was never my favorite, but he's okay. He got great chemistry with Pierce Brosnan. You know, making 006 his opposite was a nice idea. Yeah, he's charismatic. Yeah. Isabella Scorupco, I think, is the main Bond girl in this film. She's also wasn't my favorite, but she's nice. She's likable. She realistically they dressed her to the occasion. She looks not too polished, not like a supermodel or something. The way she's dressed, but she's interesting. She's likable. She also has a nice chemistry with Pierce Brosnan. I think, she's okay. Another amazing character and one of my favorites of the series is General Urmov. He's portrayed by a famous German actor, Gottfried John. No, it's not Gottfried John, it's Gottfried John. He's very interesting. Very, he's recognizable. His face is very recognizable. I know him from some TV shows, German TV shows, where he never played the villain, I think. Played a commissioner or something, or a detective or something. But he got a very recognizable face. And watching him in the German version, because he speaks, it's his own voice, it adds to his charisma, it adds to his character, because he sounds like someone coming from the theater, like a theater actor, the way he talks. It's very interesting watching him in the German version. He also speaks himself in the English version, and I love his accent. Bond Bond villains got to have an accent. Makes them more interesting. I guess. Yeah, he's great. He's an amazing villain. So yeah, you got great villains. I love the action. The whole plane action in the beginning, I always loved it. Maybe because GoldenEye was my first film at the cinema. I'm in my early to mid 40s now, so this was my first one. And when I first saw the scene jumping down for the plane, I loved this stuff. Yeah, I think it looked great, and yeah, there's some back projection, but I think it still holds up pretty great. I think it looks good. Love that scene. Love the whole opening scene. Love Urumov. Yeah, great. The when it comes to the action, one of my favorite scenes is the fight with Alec at the end at the satellite. It's a very rough and brutal fight. It's still surprising to me how violent it is. When they're smashing each other with the chains and the whole sound effects. There's no music. It's just the sound effects from punching each other and fighting to the death. And blood all over the place. It's pretty rough, and I love that. I think it adds to the film. Gives it a more serious element. Great fight scene, and yeah, of course Bond dropping him from the thing. That's pretty violent, pretty intense, but also very entertaining. So yeah, I love the action scenes. The whole thing in St. Petersburg with the tank. That's very Roger Moore, I think. Reminds me of the older films. Yeah, so they kept all of those elements and updated it with new effects and a new look, and very exciting. Very great mixture again between old and new, between familiar elements and yeah, updated them for the 90s successfully. Yeah, the music. Some people have a problem with the score. I never did. It's not the best. Yeah, they tried something new, something modern, and yeah, it doesn't hold up very well. Have to admit that. But the song, the GoldenEye song, the title track is great, as I said. So that's enough for me. I can overlook, those little flaws. I love the casino scene. I love the first meeting between Xenia and Bond. I love that we see the Aston Martin again. Haven't seen the car in a long time back in the day. So this film is I love it for resurrecting James Bond and the series. I love it for that. Martin Campbell was the director, and as we all know, he did it twice. He reinvented or helped reinventing the series again with the amazing Casino Royale, one of the best films in the series, if not the best. And he also succeeded in 1995 with resurrecting Bond for this era. It's a little more lighthearted. It's a little more fun. It's a little more Roger Moore era. Very far from Dalton, but it was perfect for the time. It was perfect for the 90s. Fits right in, and yeah, I remember, as I said, all of the promotion going on for the film. It was very exciting, and it also drew younger people into the series. They managed to get young people to watch James Bond. I mean, this is a character from the 60s, a misogynist dinosaur, as M said, and almost forgot to mention Judi Dench as the new M. My favorite M of the series. The chemistry she has with Pierce Brosnan is amazing. Every word, the whole exchange, she calling him a misogynist dinosaur, from a bygone era. I love that. She's a great. She adds to the series, and also the chemistry between Pierce Brosnan and Desmond Llewellyn as Q. It's very funny. It seems like they know each other since decades. making jokes of each other, making fun of each other. It's such a light-hearted, heartwarming scene. So yeah, I love all of those elements. I think they successfully reinvented the series. It's very exciting, and still to this day, watching this film excites me. It's an exciting movie. It was an interesting time. It was. This film did a lot for the series, and yeah. So, what do you think of GoldenEye? Do you also think it's that great? I think it's great. It's amazing. One of the not one of the best films in the series, maybe, but I think it's a top 10 film. It's up there. Leave a comment. I would love that. Subscribe. Yeah, all the usual things. Love you, love the Bond community, and see you soon.